Hello, welcome to episode 5 of the Acorn Cottage Knits knitting podcast. My name is Jess. I'm a knitter based in the northwest of England. I live here with my fiance Sam. Just the two of us, hopefully one day a dog, but yeah, so we live in Cheshire. I have not opened my notes yet, so I should probably do that and actually have a clue of what I'm going to say. Otherwise, who knows how this is going to go. So, as mentioned, I am a knitter. Obviously, you found me here on YouTube already. I am on Instagram and on Ravelry, both as Acorn Cottage Knits, and I will hopefully remember to put both of those account names in the details down below. If you could, and I'm remembering to say this at the start this time, if you could give my channel a click on the subscribe button, I would be really grateful. It's so great every time I see that people have been watching and enjoying. I love hearing your comments about what you've seen, but if you could just give it a subscribe as well, that would be even better. So today is Tuesday the 28th of June. Hopefully I will get this up before the end of the month, but we'll just see how that goes. Excuse the slight halo of frizz that is around my hair. This is as much of a presentable appearance as you're getting out of me today. You're quite lucky I've not gone to film this in my pyjamas, to be quite honest. So I think that is all of the initial admin, and normally I would start with finished objects. I have no finished objects this week, so I was due to have something finished and I ran out of yarn. I can't even say I was playing yarn chicken because I knew from a while back that I was going to run out. You may remember in the last episode with my Lagoon chunky cardigan, I was saying I was feeling a little bit unsure as to whether I was going to have enough. I definitely did not have enough. So I'm not going to go into loads of detail about the pattern and the designer, because all of that is in the previous ones, and hopefully next time, or whenever I next have it out and finished to show you, I will go back over some of that. Oh, I'm throwing things all over the place. I don't know what that was. Can't have been that important. If I can get this the right way up. So we've got one sleeve here that is completely finished, and then on this side, half a sleeve. So I've got half a sleeve plus the button band / neck band to do. I've completely run out of yarn, so I've had to order more. This is run into whips. Quite clearly wasn't a finished object section, so just straight into whips. So this is still a work in progress and I cannot wait to have it done. But so I originally ordered the yarn from knit.co.uk. You probably have heard of that if you are a knitter in the UK. Every time I pick up mohair it just makes my nose itch, so sorry about that. So yeah, I went back to that website and they didn't have any left. Did a search online. Basically the only place I could find it was on Etsy, and I've written down, yeah, I kept getting it wrong which country it's coming from. It's coming from Latvia. My geography is not great, but I know that's not right next door. I'm really hoping it doesn't take too long, but the estimated delivery was mid-July. Usually I wouldn't be too bothered. Obviously it's annoying to have run out of yarn, but as I have mentioned previously, that project was for a make-along, and unfortunately the make-along finishes at the end of June. I'm hoping that I can still, well no, I know I can still kind of put it in because there is a whips kind of category as well. It's just within my knitting group, but I'm still a little bit annoyed that it's not going to be finished in time. But what can you do? So that is the first whip. I'm definitely using notes today. I'm not even going to pretend I'm not. It's been a long week. It's only Tuesday. That tells you what my brain is like. So the next whip, which we have here. So this, I think I showed last time as well, but we are a lot further on. This is the Deep Winter Shawl. I don't know whether that just cut out a bit of the recording because it told me my battery's low. We may end up with a very short podcast if I run out of battery. So this is where we've got to. So you can see we've got the, tangled, the needles across the top end, and it's like a big sort of triangle. So I can get this wrapped around once, and that's fine, but I'm planning to make it a lot bigger. This is just over 1 skein at the minute, and I'd like to make it kind of a 2 skein one and just make it a bit bigger and kind of poofier around here. So this is the plan. It actually looks really nice having it on. I've kind of tried it on for the length, but not really seen it. I've not looked in a mirror with it on before, so I actually really like that. The colours are looking lovely. So as I said, that's the Deep Winter Shawl. It is by Liza Metzgar. It's a free pattern, I believe, off Ravelry. Basically, you just alternate between these kind of garter and eyelet sections. I'm using yarn from Yarn Unique. You'll have heard me talk about her before if you've been here with previous episodes. She is based in Warrington. The yarn itself is the superwash 4-ply, or superwash merino 4-ply I should say, and the colourway is called Always, which is part of her Hogsmeade collection. I did say on the last episode that I was going to put that in for the Across the Pond shawl knitting, the knit along Cal. Sorry, I can't get my words right, and now I've got itchy mohair nose again. I was going to use that for the Across the Pond shawl Cal, but I definitely got overexcited about that Cal, and it's not started yet. It doesn't start until July, so that will not be going into it, but I have plenty of other plans of what I'm planning to make. I have plans, I'll leave it there. So the third whip, as always, everything is in a very precarious pile. Today the camera is on 1 coffee table, stacked with 2 Amazon boxes on the top to get the right sort of height. So hopefully nothing falls down in the process of this, and one day I will have a more coherent podcasting space. So anyway, this next project, I'm just going to show you first the project bag. So it needs some fastenings putting on, but I'm really proud of this because I made this. I have not used a sewing machine prior to this since I was in year 9, which I left secondary school and went off to 6th form in 2010. I don't know, like mid to late 2000s, 2008 maybe, something around then. 2007, 2008, that was probably the last time I used the sewing machine. I have inherited one, kind of. So my sister has my grandma's, and I've got the one that my sister was using as a long-term loan, which belongs to her mother-in-law. So long story, but I've ended up with a sewing machine, and so I decided to make myself a project bag. The fabric, they were fat squares. They are jewels themed, which you may be able to kind of guess. I picked them up in Hobbycraft a while back, so I'm really proud of this. Definitely some bits that need improving, but I made a bag, so there we go. This is not a sewing video, so I'm not going to bang on about that anymore. I will just show you the project. So again, something I mentioned last time was that I had quite a lot of baby yarn I wanted to use up. So someone at work, their wife is due to have a baby, I want to say August time. So I'm making them a blanket. They don't know, it's going to be kind of a surprise gift. So this is what we've got so far. I reckon I'm just over halfway. This is the Jordan baby blanket. The designer is Marianna Mel, otherwise known as Marianna's Lazy Daisy Days, I think. I'll put all the details below. Clearly that's a bit of a mouthful to say. So it's got this sort of basket weave pattern on it, which I think is really, really lovely. It's been a really easy design to do. It's another free pattern. Most, if not all of her patterns are actually free. She's got loads of baby cardigans and blankets. So if you do need kind of a quick and easy baby pattern, then do go and have a look. The yarn I am using, which is now all just falling off the ball, I'm trying to put it away. It is King Cole, what is it? King Cole Cherish DK, and the colour is stonewash. So it's like a grey blue colour. So that is that yarn. I had one ball of it in stash and I thought, you know, I'll use that. Clearly, I got overexcited and forgot that I would definitely need more than the one ball. So I've now ordered 2 more. I will probably end up using 2 of the 3 total to make the blanket, so I'll be stuck with 1 ball again. So I'm going to have to find something to do with that. But I didn't want to order just the 1 extra and run out again and have to pay more delivery. So anyway, that's where that one has got up to. I have just realised I've not been telling you what anything I've been making has been knitted on. So everything at this point is all on KnitPros. So the shawl was on 3.5 millimeters. The baby blanket is on the 4 millimeters. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head whether they are interchangeables or fixed ones. I've got a variety of things around. So that covers that. The final whip that I have got around to show. So there are other things, but again, this is kind of active in what I've been working on. So I think it was the very first episode that I did. I showed you a jumper that I'm making for my brother. This is becoming an absolute nightmare. I have now had to start it for the 3rd time. So the first time I started it and then left it for ages, so when I picked it up, I just couldn't kind of get my head back around where I was in the pattern. And then I've been working on it more, had got a bit further in the progress down the raglan increases, and it just wasn't feeling right. And looking at the kind of the pattern, how it was written after you'd split for sleeves, I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure how this is going to work. So before I show you anything of it, it's a drops pattern. If you've come across them before, they do a lot of free patterns to go with their yarns. And when I say a lot, I mean hundreds. They are not written in English originally, and I can't remember off the top of my head what language they are written in. I want to say Danish or something like that, but anyway, the point is they do have some slight kind of quirks around some of the translation, and so I was knitting how I thought it was being read off the pattern, but it wasn't right. So I ended up looking at the comments on their webpage where the pattern was. There was one in French which I put into Google Translate, and that explained what I needed to do. So the yarn that I'm using, I'll just try and extract it now without causing another avalanche. So you can see the 2 colours. So we've got this white one and the kind of denim-y one. So this is Drops Skye. I want to say it's a DK weight, but I don't know that I have a ball band immediately accessible. Oh, hang on, is that one? No, I don't think so. So we'll go with that, saying it's a DK weight, but it's a kind of chained yarn. This is probably going to massively backfire if I try and show you this without losing everything. There you go. So you can sort of see, well, I hope you can sort of see, I couldn't see past my hand. So it's got that sort of chaining effect, and what I found with that is it means it doesn't frog very easily, and I've actually had to just abandon the piece that I had done previously. I have found doing previous drops patterns that the yarn amounts that I bought were way more than enough, so I'm hoping that I will still be all right with what I've got left, but if not, then I will just have to get more. So I restarted this, I think 2 nights ago. I can't remember for definite. So anyway, I have done the collar. So this obviously is a very long collar. So once you've made the jumper, you actually sew the collar down so it's held double. So there you go. nice kind of cozy collar. So that's a 2x2 rib on there, and I'm just ready to now go down to the raglan. So it's done with white and then the blue stripes. The white stripes are slightly thicker, and then you've got the slightly thinner blue ones. It is a ribbed jumper. So this was one of the problems that I had, was I couldn't zoom in far enough on the picture online to see the stitch definition. I think because it's in that kind of chained, yeah, I've not got the ball bands around, so I can't say what the fibre content is, but it's quite a fluffy one. So there was a bit of a halo around the picture and I just couldn't work it out, but I thought it wasn't what I had in front of me. So anyway, it's a 1x1 ribbed jumper, which I don't know, would I have picked that originally? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm sticking with it now. Some people said, why didn't I pick a different pattern? Because I've got the yarn quantities to do with the stripes. I'm just going to try and stick it out. This was meant to be my brother's birthday present, and his birthday was November. So yeah, I just need to get on with this and get it done. The reason I actually picked this up, so this would have been on Saturday, I think, when I ran out of the yarn for my Lagoon chunky cardigan. I was going to, yes, I picked this up there on Sunday. So what I was going to do was work on a cast on and start an Anchors Summer Tee, but I told myself I wouldn't cast that on until I'd finished the Lagoon chunky. So I've decided to stick to that and worked on this one instead because I've been putting it off. Hopefully now that I've worked out the pattern, I will stop putting it off because the yarn is really nice to work with. And once you go up to the kind of the main needle size, which I think is a 4.5mm, which I must be about to do, it works up a lot faster. So yeah, hopefully that will kind of maybe not fly through, but we'll actually get somewhere with that now. So third time lucky on that, and that is everything on the where's it fallen? Everything on the whips. So just bear with me, I'm just going to rearrange some of my little stash down here. Okay, so acquisitions is the next bit, and this is going to be quite a hefty portion. I didn't intend to go crazy, but things have just built up a bit. So first things, there are two acquisitions from my birthday. I'm going to try really hard not to rustle these too much. I mentioned in the last podcast that I had got the Truly Hooked Bridgerton Sets. So it's 4-ply mini skeins. So this is season 1. I'm hoping the light's not shining on that too much. So I don't think I have colour names available, but that's the season 1. And then again, sorry for the rustling, this is season 2. So if you've watched Bridgerton, you can probably see how these colourways relate to the kind of the episodes. I'm planning to do the colour palette socks with each kind of season's worth. So I will have a set of season 1 socks and a set of season 2 socks. I just need to work out my kind of count for what rounds I'm doing and how many rounds of each colour, and I'll just use a kind of a neutral as the in-betweeny bit. The next thing that I have got, again, excuse the rustling, it's still all in packaging. So this was really lovely, comes in a nice kind of canvasy bag, which I would definitely make use of. So this is from, I'm doing it again, I'm holding things up to show you, and it's probably going to be back to front writing, so I shouldn't do that. It's from the Camels Yarn, and I got 2 skeins here. So these are what I have got. So if I remember rightly, yeah, so they're both 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So it's the standard sock base on a 4-ply. So this one here is Rockpool. Sorry, I've got a text coming through on the top of my phone and it's distracting me. So it's got all of these gorgeous different shades in there. And then this darker one is, I think this was a one of a kind. Yeah, so it's a one of a kind colourway. So it was mainly that kind of dark emerald green with just slight variations in. So my plan is to use these together, and I hadn't bought from the Camels Yarn before. It was my friend Lucy from This Nanny Knits who recommended them for me. They have some really, really gorgeous colours. They're all inspired from Cornwall, which is where Hannah, who dyes the yarn, is based. And I just couldn't make my mind up, basically. And Hannah was so, so helpful. She sent me pictures of the kind of colour options that I was considering on an Instagram message. Not just the ones which I'd said, you know, could I look at these together, but ones that off the back of that, she, as the dyer, thought would look good together. So she gave loads of help and loads of suggestions, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. So customer service, top notch. The yarn itself is really, really beautiful. So I am planning to use that yarn to make the Exordium shawl. Oh, there's a fly. So that is going to be for the Across the Pond shawl cal. So it's Ruth Loves to Knit and Little Monkeys and Me. So those two are going to make that shawl. The Exordium shawl is by Rebecca Picoult. Anyway, so it's kind of two colours, and I thought those two would look really nice together, kind of consistent but have the variation. The other thing I just need to mention, which I just pick up my birthday card. So I bought that yarn with a gift card from my brother, different brother to the one who I'm making the jumper for, and sister-in-law. So in the card, my sister-in-law has written, she hopes it will provide plenty more content for my future blogs, in brackets, that Josh, who's my brother, is keenly awaiting his shout out. So Josh, there you go, that is your shout out. Thank you for the gift card. I will very much enjoy using that yarn. Excellent birthday present, and please do get me more gift cards for yarn shops in future, because I will always be happy with them. So that was the two birthday yarns. I've then had quite a bit of fortune with people on my knitting group needing to do a bit of a de-stash, and I have benefited very well from this. So first up, we have gained some baby yarn. This is Rico Baby Classic DK. So colour is 54. Anyway, it's this kind of minty, kind of pastel-y-ish green colour. Hopefully that's showing up all right. So I've got 3 balls of this, and it's from my friend Daniela, and she also sent me 2 others, which I didn't bring through. There was a yellow and a white one. I can't remember what brand they were, but anyway, she's having a bit of a clear out, and I have got a list of baby knits to make, which is as long as my arm. So there's a couple of people at work, along with some people who are some of my favourite humans in the world, and those favourite humans are having babies. So I want to knit all of the lovely squishy baby items. So I thought making the most of some de-stash yarn, slightly lower price, why not go for that? The other de-stash was my friend Sarah, who I will mention a bit more in a minute. Anyway, she sent me this haul. I think there are 16 balls of this. So it's the Drops Saffron, and it's 100% cotton. So it's their yarn group A, which is either a 4-ply or a kind of a sport weight. Colourway, it's number 50. Anyway, she decided she wasn't going to make anything with this, and it's this kind of duck egg blue. That's going to be perfect for a summer knit. I may not get time to get one done this summer, but I can always get one kind of ready and in the wings for next spring, summertime. I'm definitely going to have more than one top's worth than that, I think. But I'm really excited to see what I can make with that. And again, trying not to cause chaos. And I'm also slightly wary of how close I am to the candles behind me. I probably shouldn't be talking to you while turning my head. Anyway, I will try not to knock things over, try not to set the house on fire, and try not to ramble for too long, because I don't know how much battery I have got left. So, final section of the acquisitions. So I've got this gorgeous bag which says knitter on it, as usual, probably back to front for you. This is from Stitches Tees, and I picked this up at the Monty Yarn show in Sheffield, which was on a couple of weekends ago. So it's about a 2-hour drive from here, and Sarah, who I just mentioned, who I got that D-stash yarn from, is part of the knitting group that I'm in, as is Karen from Knitting and Labradors. So we were all planning to go to the yarn show, and we're all going by ourselves, so we've agreed to meet up and go around together. So it was really nice to actually meet some of the yarny people in person. We also met Ellen and Katie from our knitting group as well, who were there with family. So it was just really nice to kind of have a day out, see some people. So I picked up this bag. I was going to get a project bag, but decided for the tote in the end. There are some stitch markers, which I probably won't show you right now because it's a bit small. So I'll just show you the main things. So first up was this from Giddy Yarns, which is the 75-25 superwash merino and nylon, and it's one of their gobstopper balls. So this colourway is called Cherry Blossom, and it's a self-striping sock yarn. I've got somewhere in here as well the green colour to go with it for contrast, kind of heels, toes, cuffs. Their gobstopper balls are so popular. As soon as they go on the website, they're usually sold out. So I knew I was going to make a point of buying one of these at the show, and I cannot wait to knit with it and have some really nice stripy socks. So that was the first one. That ball is, so it's 100 grams, and then I've got a 20-gram mini, so that should be plenty. Pop those to the side. And then I got this skein from Ducky Darlings, which is Pina Colada. I meant to pick up the other Ducky Darlings skein I've got, which I picked up at Spring Into Wool, which is Pins O'Clock, and I've just remembered now that I've not done that, so I was going to show them together, but oh well. So I decided I wanted to use the Pins O'Clock to make the Birthday Bash Shawl by Monster Knits, and I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I wanted to use the Pins O'Clock one for that, but I didn't know what to hold it with as the second colour. Ducky Darlings had done a pair of socks which had this yellow as the kind of the contrast and the Pins O'Clock, and it looked really nice, so I'm going to go with that on the shawl. So superwash merino and nylon again, 75-25, 100 grams. So I'm now doubting myself that she's not called Hayley, but I want to say Hayley. The lady who runs Ducky Darlings, who may or may not be called Hayley, it was really lovely to chat to again. I chatted to her briefly at Spring Into Wool as well, and on this time round I was with Karen, and she went, "Oh, you're Knitting in Labradors and you're at Acorn Cottage." And I was like, yeah. So that was slightly surreal, having someone recognise my face just out in the world. It'd be more weird if they recognised me in Tesco. You know, in a yarn environment, it's probably less odd. Anyway, so I'd planned to only buy things that I had a project in mind for. So this is quite good to accompany my other skein and make that big shawl. Whether or not I get it done within the, I think it's 3 months that there is on the Across the Pond shawl knit along. I don't know whether I'll get 2 shawls done in that time, but we'll see. And then this is the final skein, which is Blue Fern Yarns, and this is the Antarctic. So it's the Platinum Sock 4-ply. Again, it's a 75-25 and 100 grams. So quite clearly I was just going down the kind of, I mean, it's all gorgeous, lovely yarn, but it's safe and known in terms of a base. I know what I'm going to get to an extent knitting with it. So this is the yarn, and you can see it's got all of those really nice blue colours. They had different ones of different oceans. So I've picked this to make a pair of socks, and I can't remember the name of the pattern, but essentially the people who ran the Wool Monty in the kind of the brochure, programme, show guide, whatever you want to call it, I think there were 6 patterns, so half knitting, half crochet, and there's a pair of socks in there, which I seen on Instagram that they were going to have patterns, one of which would be a pair of socks. So I decided in advance of going, one of the things I was going to get was I was going to buy yarn at the show to make the pattern from the show guide. So this is what I've got. And then, as I said, there was some stitch markers and one or two little minis. I thought I was going to buy loads of minis to add to my cozy memories, and I just didn't end up picking them up in the end. But that is my little haul from the Wool Monty. I'm just going to move my legs. Oops, sorry, I'm kicking that. I've got a dead foot. So just try and move that back. This is why you don't podcast on a pile of Amazon boxes. So I needed to, well, get circulation back in my foot and also get my book out, because this last little bit, I thought this podcast was going to be a bit shorter. So to kind of fill it out a bit, sorry, I'm going to end up kicking you again now, but this is just not comfortable. And that's a lot of chins and you didn't need to see that. Anyway, so I thought the podcast episode was going to be a bit short, and so I put on my Instagram this morning that I was planning to podcast and did a bit of a Ask Me Anything. So we've got 4 or 5 different questions. So I will try and remember to put people's names and or account handles in the screen or in the comment box. Obviously go and check out all of the accounts. So first up was my friend Lauren, who does the yarns at Wild Pearl Yarns. She's got a shop on Etsy and does absolute gorgeous yarns, a lot of very kind of floral, spring pastels, and anyway, gorgeous, so go and check those out. She asked me, do I have any hobbies aside from knitting? I don't think sleeping or eating pizza are valid hobbies, but what I do really enjoy doing is paddleboarding. So last summer I went out quite a lot doing bits with rented boards. The first time I tried was on my sister-in-law's, or now sister-in-law's, hen party, and went out quite a few times after that with some friends, and I've now bought my own paddleboard. So yeah, that's just really fun to go out, kind of clear your head a bit, fresh air, get out on the water. So yeah, thanks Lauren, that is my hobby. If you ever get the opportunity to try paddleboarding, I would definitely recommend it. If you have tried it, if you're a keen paddleboarder, let me know in the comments, and let me know of any other hobbies that fellow knitters also do. The next ones are from Karen, who is knitting a Labradors. So she asked 3 questions, one of which I can't answer because it has spoilers in it. So I will just do the 2 of them. So the first one she said is, am I going to do the Stephen West cowl this year? Absolutely. I wasn't really aware of shawlography last year until it was, you know, underway and a bit late. Obviously you could join in, but it's not the same as having that kind of anticipation and the clues coming out. So yes, absolutely. I am slightly obsessed with shawls at the moment and desperate to make a Stephen West pattern, but I have enough in my plans at the moment, so I'm going to wait for the knit along and see what comes out of that. But yes, absolutely, I definitely want to have a go at that one. The other question that the other question that Karen asked was, am I going to knit at my wedding? So I've mentioned towards the end of like the chatty bits at some of the other episodes that myself and my fiance are getting married this year. The wedding is in October, so we have less than 100 days to go now. I really don't think I am going to do any knitting that day, Karen. As much as I love it and as much as it de-stresses me and calms me, I don't think that my fiance slash husband to be slash on the day husband for real would enjoy it if I was like, sorry, I'm just going to go sit and do a bit, half an hour of knitting. Don't think that would go down too well. So I think that will be one of the very few days in the year that I'm not going to do any knitting. Yeah, I did debate making myself a wrap or a shawl or something, but I thought it's, you know, to get that sort of wedding-y aesthetic, you probably want to do a lace weight one, and when you're planning a wedding, who's got time for that? if you have knitted yourself part of your wedding outfit, or part of a wedding outfit for anybody else for that matter, then well done you, because I have not got the time or the patience to do that right now. Next question is from, sorry, that fly is bugging me now. I don't have her name, but her account is Get Ya Knits Out. So again, I'll put that on the screen. She asked, what is my most controversial knitting opinion? I don't know how controversial this is, but I think magic loop is overrated. I actually really dislike it. I think it's a faff, and I just think it gets in the way. There's very few times that I would use it as my chosen method. Basically, it's only when I haven't got a cable short enough to do what I'm doing. So yeah, that is my opinion. Again, that's one to let me know in the comments. Let me know your controversial, doesn't have to be controversial, just your opinions, your thoughts. Do you like magic loop? Do you have a opinion about knitting, about techniques or yarns or fibres or anything else that you think a lot of other people wouldn't agree with? Yeah, let me know below, and just be really interesting actually to see a few of those comments. The next one, so this was a really difficult one. So it's another Lauren, this time from Lauren Knits with an X on the end, like a little kiss. So she has got a podcast as well, which if you haven't seen it, I think it's called Lauren Knits, also she might be under Lauren and Hallie. I'll try and put the details below. So she asked, what is my favourite yarn and pattern? And this is a really difficult one. I mean, how are you supposed to pick? I just don't know. So I'm kind of going with what I'd say. I mean, I can never pick all-time favourites. That's too difficult. But we're going with like current favourites. So at the minute, in the more kind of commercial end of things, the Rico Superba Bamboo 4-ply, which I talked about last time on the pair of socks for my sister, I'd say that's pretty high in the list for a commercial yarn. It's just so soft. Yeah, it's great. Other than that, drops as a general category, I think they're really affordable yarns. Obviously pros and cons to that, but generally, yeah, really like those. So yeah, hand-dyed yarns, I think the only person I've bought multiple things from, really, I've had a couple of kind of clubs, but if we discount those, it would be Ducky Darlings. So I've now had 3 full skeins from them, just because I've really liked what they've had to hand. And again, they're a really good kind of price for hand-dyed yarns, so they're lovely. But honestly, with all the hand-dyed yarns in the world, I could not pick one single favourite. Patterns, I'm going to cheat in here, say it's categories. So at the minute, I am slightly obsessed with shawls. I've been watching the Amy Parko podcast where she has her wall of shawls, and I want to make them all. They are gorgeous. As I mentioned earlier as well, I am slightly obsessed with the Stephen West patterns at the moment and can't wait to get my hands on and make one of those. So shawls as a whole, and so just to pick one kind of I've actually put into a Ravelry queue, not just in a list in my brain, the Cinnabar shawl, which I haven't knit brioche before, so it will be a challenge, but it'll be something good to learn. So I might leave that for over the winter, I think. But hopefully, Lauren, you will accept that as an answer. The final one, again, I've not got the person's name, but the account is Ball of Potential, and she asked, what is my favourite thing I've ever knitted? Again, this is a really difficult one, like how do you pick just one thing? I had a little look back through some of the posts on my Instagram. So I did the rustic cable socks, which were by Knitting Traditions. Made those for a friend's birthday just over a year ago. Those were really nice to make. I did the Anya dress by Susie Sparkles Knitting, and that was an absolute love-hate project. So it had a lot of lace, and I just stupidly didn't use, oh gosh, what's the word? Didn't use lifelines as much as I should. So then there was a lot of ripping back, but I was really proud of it when it was done. So I guess that's within that category of favourites. I do love the Lagoon. I cannot get these words out. I do love the Lagoon chunky cardigan as well. I will be really pleased with that when it's finished, because it has been a bit of a slog just for the size of it, and because it's cardigan there's obviously a lot of purling involved. But yeah, I will be really pleased with that. It's my first time with mohair as well. And I'm also just going to throw in there, I really like my Cozy Memories blanket. It's not, you know, big and impressive. Well, hopefully it will be big by the end of it. You know, it's nothing majorly fancy with complex techniques, but it's just really personal. So hopefully, again, that covers some of the questions. And I think that's it. I'm not really going to do any chatty bits now, because I've just covered quite a lot of talking at you. If there are any other questions that you would like me to answer, either just by replying to comments or by doing a little questions section again at the end of another podcast, then let me know. Let me know what you're working on, and I hope you have a really good rest of the week. As I mentioned at the start, if you could subscribe, I will be incredibly grateful. Also pop over and give me a follow on Instagram. That is where I spend most of my kind of knitting social media time. So if you need a quick answer from me, I can't imagine about what, but that's the easy way to get hold of me. I'm rubbish at remembering to check for comments on YouTube, but I will see them eventually. So please do leave one. Enjoy the rest of the week, and hopefully I will be back again shortly. Bye.